Hey Kim, excellent question. So let's set this up. I believe we're asked to find this angle of elevation right here, theta, and you quite rightly you said we're going to use the tan. So let's get into that. The tan of theta, we know that equals the opposite side, which is going to be 104, divided by the adjacent side, which is 113. So when we calculate that out, what this is it's really just a ratio. A ratio of sides, they have a special relationship whenever we're dealing with a right angle triangle like we are here. So when we compute this 104 divided by 113, I have my little calculator here, I'll show you that. So 104 divided by 113. We're going to just hit that up. Obviously, we get a decimal, right? But that equals the tan of theta. So tan theta equals that crazy decimal, 0 point blah, 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 blah. That's not what we're after. We're after theta. So we have to think about this like a little bit of an algebraic problem. We want theta by itself. How do we get rid of theta? We have to get rid of the tangent. And how we do that is it's really called the anti-tan. So if you look at, and we don't really go into anti-tans too much, but if you look at your calculator, and yours might be a different model, that's fine. But try to find your trig functions. Here you'll see sine, cosine, and tangent. And then the second function in yellow gives me sine minus 1, cosine minus 1, and tan minus 1. So that's the calculator's way of calling that anti-tan or inverse tangent or getting rid of getting rid of the tangent. So if we were to do that, here's my crazy decimal that's already in my calculator. I'm going to click second function, tangent. So that's anti-tan with its little -1 exponent. That tells me it's the inverse or the anti-tan, what have you. I'm then going to select second function answer, which is literally just going to blast this right in, and we can compute that. And now we're going to get this other crazy decimal right here. This leads us to another common problem. So the decimal, or sorry, the angle, theta, my calculator is saying is 0.74 degrees, which is pretty small. Looking at this, it should be a bit bigger, right? Maybe 30 degrees, 45, something like that. So what you also have to check is your mode, and every calculator has a mode button. Yours might be a little different. Here I'm going to go into mode, and we can see right now that I'm in radian mode. Okay, so I'm in radian mode right now, but that's not going to help us because we're dealing with degrees. We're asked to find this in degrees. So I'm going to have to go over and make sure I hit degree. That's awesome. Now I can go back out. I'll restate this answer again. So I'm going to go second function tangent, second function, actually I won't even do that. I'll clear all this first because that's going to mess me up. So I'm going to go 104 divided by 113. That equals an answer. We'll inverse tan or anti-tan that, hit it up, and now we get 42.625 degrees. Most times we're asked to round to the nearest degree, so this would come out to be 43 degrees, I would say. So that's the two biggest things. Remember that all of our trig functions, sine, cosine, tangent, are ratios, and we can approximate those with decimals if you have to, but when we're asked to find the angle, you have to do the opposite trig function to get theta by itself. So in this case, I would say, if my clicker's going to work, I'd say theta equals, 63 degrees or 64 degrees or whatever we had there. Just make sure you round appropriately. Okay? Last thing, also remember, if we're dealing with degrees, like obviously we are here, most of this course we're going to be, make sure your calculator is in degree mode, otherwise it's going to spit out the wrong answer. The default for all calculators is to be in radian mode. This is great for fractions, it's great for everything else, but when we're dealing with degrees and we have to figure out what theta is, throw it into degree mode. Now if I gave you this in radians, if I said this was like pi over 2 radians, yeah, radian mode's fine. But for here in degrees, kick it over to degrees, make sure your calculator is in degree mode. If you don't know how to do that on your own calculator, try to Google the model number. There's all kinds of YouTube videos as well that'll help you. So I hope that makes some sense. Keep up the great work. Bye.